Hey there, everybody. This is Ken with Covenant Gaming, and welcome to another episode of Euro Truck Simulator 2. As a matter of fact, today is going to be especially special. It is our final episode of the base game playthrough that we've been doing. We have 3 more cities to uncover, a few question mark points of interest to do, and once we finish that, the base game will be complete, and that's minus any DLCs. When I say base game, I mean the original release of ETS2. So we're going to finish that up today. We've also got quite a few changes that are happening this episode, and even more changes that are happening next episode. So first, let's go ahead and get moving a little bit, and then we're going to start talking about that stuff as we get moving. So, as I said, we have big changes today, and the big changes today are that I have actually added a whole bunch of mods to the game. Things around the realism, making the world a little more lively as far as traffic. Let me get moving a little bit further through this thing here. Yeah, things about traffic, things for weather. More cars on the road. So like the basic ones that I've done are that I have added realistic trains and sounds. One of the things that used to bug me actually about this game was kind of amusing, is the trains always bothered me, is because they were so short. You know, every time you saw a train, they were I think they were 5 or 6 cars long, and that was about it. And that was always kind of a bummer to me because, you know, trains are significantly longer than that. You don't see trains that short anywhere. So that always bummed me out. So I actually found a mod that will make trains realistic lengths. The same mod also does things like make them look different depending on the country you're in, so they should look more realistic for the location. I also added a sound pack so that those trains will sound more accurate as well. Some of our other changes are to the weather. I've added the Weather 3.1 mod, which I have not actually seen it in action yet, but it's supposed to make weather better in this game. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that's gonna do. Traffic and density. The traffic density I have increased. Now this is one I'm not sure I'm going to actually keep. I have increased traffic density to be a bit more realistic. My only concern around this one is that it's going to get kind of frustrating if there's too many cars, if we end up with too many traffic jams and things like that. Then I'm going to shut that one off. I don't want the traffic frustrating me in this game and slowing down the videos. Nobody wants to sit there in traffic, and nobody wants to watch me sitting around in traffic. So even though realistic traffic is nice, if it is screwing with the traffic density, for instance, like this, making merging difficult, then it's gonna have to go. This is the big question mark. We're gonna see. I have also added all of the Jazzy Packs. Jazzy's a modder who's done a lot of mods to adding new vehicles into the game to make the roads more lively. Better skins on those existing vehicles. He also has added a bunch of cargo packs so that there's a lot more interesting cargo for us to be carrying. As well as better traffic sounds. He and Jazzy and the one that did the traffic sounds, but I found a something that makes the traffic sound better. You know, like motorcycles will sound more impressive. I have actually already noticed that one is as you'll hear sports cars do, ripping past you with their with their fancy mufflers that they add on there to make it sound good and all that. So that kind of stuff I'm already noticing. Like right there's a car right there. That's a classic muscle car. that is from one of the Jazzy things. And so I like that kind of stuff. I like cars. I like looking at them. And so anything that makes the roads more interesting, that's good stuff. I have added Sissel's cabin accessories, which is, the interior here. It adds a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to be able to liven up our cabins with. I haven't done any modifications to what I had in there yet, but those changes will be coming at some point. And finally, the probably the biggest one for right now is that I have added, and I don't have it turned on quite yet, I'll explain why, is I have actually added Opentrack, which is a open source head tracking solution that will use, there's a car right there, isn't he? Yeah, get out of my blind spot, buddy. I'm going to hit him. Nope, I didn't hit him. Great. Yeah, it's an open source head tracking, which will allow you to control like this camera right here that I'm looking around. Normally I control it with the right thumbstick on this controller, which is fine, but as I watch my videos, I notice it's, it kind of looks jerky because, the same with the steering, because I don't have a steering wheel. Everything kind of looks a little halted. I look around and it's like, that doesn't look very good. So head tracking software will solve that. As I turn my head, the camera will move. And I'm going to turn that on in 1 second. Let me get around this corner and, yeah, I'll turn it on in 1 second. So I have set it up so that I can toggle it on and off very easily, and the reason I want to do that is because as I'm driving, I do tend to, and I have to work this out, I just have to do practice. I got to practice a lot. As I'm talking and telling stories and things, I tend to look at the camera and things like that as I'm driving. If it's a straightaway, it's like, oh, I'm going to look at the camera and talk directly to you guys as I'm doing that. Well, if I'm using head tracking software, every time I look to the camera, you guys are going to see the camera do this, which is probably kind of annoying. So I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to use this yet. I am going to demo it in 1 second. But I have to kind of mess around with it a little bit and decide if this is something that I want to, if that's something that I want to use as I'm driving and talking. It's, if I'm just driving, it is, and not chit-chatting, then it's definitely awesome. And let me go ahead and turn it on, and I'm going to demonstrate it right now. So you're going to see this. Let me actually go ahead and recenter that. Boop. All right, perfect. So as I turn my head here, you'll see that it's moving around, and it's looking a bit smoother. And I'll tell you, like I said, once I get used to using it more, when I was off camera practicing, I did like it quite a bit because it made the driving a heck of a lot more, I guess, easier. It's, like when you, especially when you hit intersections and I'm checking traffic coming in both directions, it's a pain to use your thumbstick. So a lot of times, like now I can check my, see, yeah, I got to get used to it. I also have to calibrate it a little better, so I can check my mirrors by doing this so that I can see if there's people coming the other direction, but I have to get used to it. And see, every time I turn to the camera, it happens there. So I'll turn it back off right now because I have to practice this off camera for a while before I fully, start using it while I'm making my videos. It's very cool. I did go out. It uses your webcam, but since I'm using my webcam to record, I actually went out and I bought like a cheap $20 webcam from Walmart because you don't really need a high quality one. So I just bought a cheapie, and I set that one up to be used for my head tracking, and it does work really good. I need to calibrate it more. I need to get used to using it more because it's very different. It's really, really different. I've kind of gotten used to doing things the way that I'm doing them now. But as weird as it all feels right now, I do know that long term that's going to be a much better experience. Like I said, everything looks smoother when I'm using it. And I've always wanted to get head tracking. I'm not going to spend what a good head tracking solution is like $300 or something like that right now. And you have to wear like a little thing around your head. So I don't really feel like doing that right now. The next thing I'm going to buy is a wheel. If I'm spending $300, it's going to be on a wheel, not on a piece of head tracking hardware. So this is a nice little short-term solution. So those are the things that I've added to the game right now. They're in there now. Like I said, I'm already noticing the traffic stuff that I did. I haven't seen any weather stuff happening yet, but hopefully we will. The sky does. I don't know what it's doing to the sky boxes. We'll find out about the weather stuff. I'm happy about the traffic thing so far. So next episode, however, we've got the real big stuff coming. I had decided that once I wrapped up the base game cities, which we're doing today, and I talked about this a little bit in the last episode, is that I will actually be introducing ProMods as well as several other map modifications. I've been doing a lot of downloading and installing things offline. I haven't added any of them to this profile yet. I've been experimenting on my other profiles, figuring out what map combination I want to do and everything. But I think I have everything down to a pretty decent setup that I'm going to be introducing next episode. And what those are going to consist of is ProMods. That's going to be the big one. And that's all the ProMods content. That's Europe, that's the Great Steppe, and the Middle Eastern add-ons. All those will be there. I will also be adding various other maps. Most of the big names that people know about. I don't want to bother with things that are not really that great. If the production values aren't very good, then the scenery's not looking very good and the content's not very good, I don't want to bother with it. So I'm sticking with the big stuff for now. But I am including the southern region, the Sibir map, Rus map. What else is in there? Road to Java? Is that what it's called? The Java Revolution map, JRR, something like that. That one's also in there. And maybe some other small ones, but I think that's the lion's share of it. Next episode, I will talk about everything. I'll list everything out that's been added since. I'll write all that up and talk about it then. But yeah, so that's going to be the big change. It will mean that we're going to be exploring a lot more interesting places. I'm thinking about stuff like, doing series where we do long drives, like something crossing the entirety of Europe or whatever, and doing that over the course of several episodes. And maybe in those things, I won't be editing the driving out in any way. I've had some people asking about that, as leaving more of the driving in, and I've been doing time lapses and things like that, but the idea, there's other people doing that kind of thing where they're driving, long form videos, driving, multiple hours across countries and things like that, and maybe I'll do something like that, or maybe break up longer drives over multiple episodes. Who knows? It's pretty wide open. I haven't made any hard and fast decisions. Oops! Don't do that. We don't want to run into anybody. Yeah, but I think it's going to be pretty exciting. I do like ProMods. I've used it in the past, as well as a lot of these other maps. It expands things. I'm supposed to be over one. Let me get over there. And I'm going to hit that guy. There he goes. That's a bummer. I got to pay attention a little bit more. Whatever. So I do like having the entire, a massive map. There's probably, I do think down the road I will add things like Africa in there. There's a lot of Eastern Asia that you can add in as well. North and South Korea can get put in there, that kind of stuff. So I do foresee that those will get in there eventually as well. But I think we're going to have a good start for next episode. So it's going to be pretty exciting stuff. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping you guys will like it. Drop some comments. We've had people talking about this kind of stuff in the past. And also, since I'm getting more into the mods now, I will probably get into some modded trucks as well. I'm not sure. Oh, I'm almost out of gas. I haven't made any decisions around that yet, but my original however many episodes I did of just base game, very few mods, those days are over. So give me suggestions and let me know what you guys are looking for, and I'm gonna take them all into consideration. We'll make some pretty cool content in the coming months. And now that we are in Edinburgh, we can start talking about what we have learned about there. Let's get that man thing, and then we have a recruitment agency right up here, and then we can talk a little bit about the cool stuff I learned here, because there are some pretty interesting stories that I managed to dig up. Great. All right, so Edinburgh. Oh, you know what? I got to get fuel. Hold on one second. Let me find a fuel stop. All right, perfect. All right, so Edinburgh, which is where we are right now. I was reading up on this one, and we have some interesting stuff. This is actually, this one's a little minor, but I still thought it was kind of cool. This is the first town in the entire world, not just in Europe, but in the world, to have its own fire department, which I thought was pretty cool. I didn't see any fire trucks running around over there. That would have been kind of neat if they had some fire trucks running around, but whatever. First town with its own fire department. J.K. Rowling spent some time here writing Harry Potter, and so the landscape in this area is an inspiration for some of her characters and her locations. And finally, in this one, we'll see if any of the younger folk know what I'm talking about, but the older folk will certainly know, because I don't know how much this is even around anymore, is Encyclopedia Britannica was actually first produced here. Now, look at that traffic. See? Traffic. Lots more traffic I got to watch for. So for the younger folk who don't know what Encyclopedia Britannica is, Encyclopedia Britannica is basically the wiki for old folk. Before the internet, when you wanted to learn something about someone, you went to something called an encyclopedia, which was a book or a series of books full of facts about not everything, obviously, but quite a bit. So you could think of it very much as the paper version of Wikipedia, and the name Wikipedia is a derivation of encyclopedia. So I thought that was kind of cool, because we had our Encyclopedia Britannica growing up, and so that was I always loved it. I was a big encyclopedia fan. I enjoyed reading them and learning all kinds of interesting things growing up. So it was kind of cool to hear that this is the place where it was invented. So a little bit further down this road, I have to get some fuel, and I think I'm going to go ahead and sleep too, so that we can get daytime back up. Hopefully that's not going to make us late. And then we are going to be heading into Glasgow, and we will catch up as we arrive there, because we have some very interesting things about statues in Glasgow. This is that's one of the more amusing, not very consequential in the world, but I thought it was very amusing, tickle my funny bone kind of trivia. So we'll learn about that when we get closer to Glasgow. We'll see you in a few minutes. And welcome to Glasgow. So we've got two interesting little tidbits that I managed to dig up about this place. The first one is food related, and me and my wife are foodies, and so this one was actually pretty amusing. So tikka masala curry, which is, I don't know about in Europe, but at least in America, it's the most popular curry in America. Funny enough, as popular as it is, I've never been a huge fan of it. I'm like, it's okay, but I don't normally order it. But so I've always been like, Indian food, tikka masala. Well, tikka masala was actually invented here in Glasgow. It was invented by Southern Asians, which I guess is India. But it was invented here. It wasn't invented in India. So it sort of reminds me of the whole General Tso's chicken, which is probably the most famous Chinese takeout in America, but it's not even Chinese. It's it was invented over here, once again probably by someone from China, but someone who realized that we tend to like our food a lot more sweet, which is what General Tso's chicken is. So someone very industrious came up with that. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I always like to see when like really, really famous ethnic foods are actually invented in other places. The other big one, and this is the one that just kind of tickled my funny bone, and I didn't see any while I was driving, but maybe I'll see it in post, is there's the whole thing about horse statues of horses. I guess this is a whole world that I've never been aware of. But this thing I was reading was talking about, it's like, oh, horse statues and blah, blah, blah. And there's all these little factoids around horse statues as people theorize that the number of horse hooves that are on the ground somehow indicates something about the person, how the person died, which I guess is just a myth. And I don't know, it's this weird stuff that I never knew anything about. You know, I've seen horse statues, but you know, it's a big deal evidently. Well, the very first the first statue of a horse being ridden by a woman is in Glasgow. So I thought that was pretty funny. When I was looking it up, I was like, well, that's kind of that's sort of amusing. So I wrote that one down, and like I said, I didn't see any horse statues as I was driving through here, but when I'm editing, I will try and take a closer look and see if anything pops up. I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't, though, but I thought that was good, and I'll have already put up a picture of what that statue looks like, and we can all, you know, ooh and ah over that. But with that, we have got one more town left, and that is Aberdeen. That will be our final town. It'll be the final two points of interest left to uncover in the base game cities. And it will be the final bit of trivia that we talk about for the base game, though we are going to be continuing that aspect even once we introduce ProMods and everything. ProMods just means that we're going to have a lot more cities that we can talk about when we're driving around. But yeah, we'll go ahead, and we have a little bit of a drive to get ourselves to Aberdeen, so we're going to go ahead and do another time lapse here, and you can enjoy the drive. I think I am going to go ahead and turn on the head tracking during this and see if it makes for like a little more smoother experience. We're gonna see how it all turns out. But in the meantime, I will catch up with you shortly. See you soon. and welcome to Aberdeen. So I'm pretty happy with most of the mods so far. There's a couple changes I need to make just from driving a little bit more. One is I have to definitely adjust my head tracking because turning to the right was not very good. It wasn't very responsive. Whoa, look at that guy. I'm also thinking about whether that traffic density thing is going to stick around. The more traffic, it is kind of interesting because you got to get a bit more aggressive. The traffic will stop when you get out, if you pull out there and stick your nose out there. So that might add some fun, who knows. But overall, I'm pretty happy. I like the new sounds. So we are actually approaching our destination. We just polished off our final point of interest, and I'm going to pull in here and I'm going to tell a couple of quick stories, and then we're going to park, and then we're going to wrap it up. Look at that. Look at that. Come on. See what I mean about the traffic? There's just a lot more cars. Am I going to hit them? I am going to hit them. Oh well, it was an ugly car anyway. So let's talk about Aberdeen real quick. We're just going to stop. 3 things that I learned about here. One is that there are over 30 Aberdeens in the world. One of them is actually not too far from where I live, right in Massachusetts. There is an Aberdeen. The second is that Aberdeen is well known for whiskey. There are over 17 distilleries here. I've talked about this in the past when we were talking about beers in some of the other German cities. I'm not a big drinker. So you guys let me know about your favorite whiskeys, anything there is to do about whiskey. I've had whiskey, obviously, but I really don't like the taste of that. So you need to put something in it for me to enjoy it. And then our final base game piece of trivia, I wish it was a little more exciting than this, but this is pretty good, is this place, Aberdeen, is one of the luckiest places in the UK. If you are ever in Aberdeen, you're going to want to buy yourself a lottery ticket because there have been 47, at least as of the time that I read this factoid, maybe there's been more since, 47 millionaires have been made from the lottery in Aberdeen. So next time you're in Aberdeen, buy yourself a lottery ticket. And that is the last factoid of the base game. So now let's go ahead and do our parking. Let's see if we can finish up with some decent parking. I somehow doubt it. That's not too horrible a spot. We'll see how we do. And once we do this parking, we will go ahead and wrap up. Let's see how I do here. Nice. I got to admit, it's not as fast as the 0 minutes and 0 seconds we had that time that we pulled straight in. But other than that, that's probably my best parking job so far of this series. And we got ourselves another level 15. Let's go ahead and we were late. We lost a little bit of money, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and put another bit. We're going to do long distance now since, as I said, we're adding ProMods in. I think being able to drive longer jobs is going to pay off in the long term. Let's go ahead and apply that. And there we go. Not bad. So let us quickly, before we fully wrap up, take a look at what we have accomplished in these last, what is this, 16? Is this the 16th episode? 17? Somewhere around there, 16 or 17 episodes, what we have accomplished. We'll see all those discovered roads right there, and you will see, I'm not going to bother showing it, but every single point of interest, every single video point of interest, the little movies that they show, and every single photograph has been done, unless there's some hidden ones stuck in here. We'll find out someday. But I think this is pretty good. You guys were with me for most of this. I think there were chunks in here and in here that I did off screen, but it's been a pretty fun adventure. Next episode, though, is going to be even bigger, as we're going to see this map grow in a very, very big way. We're going to see a whole lot more stuff that we're going to have to do. As impressive as this looks, when we look around to the different, you look around to the DLCs, it actually looks like we've covered quite a bit of the map. That's all changing next episode. So, very nice. Until next time, I would ask that you leave a comment. Tell me what you think about the changes and the things that we're going to be doing in the future. Tell me what you think about the mods that we've added in. I'm pretty happy with them. I like the new car types. I like the sounds. I did notice some of the truck sounds have actually changed as well and gotten a lot more interesting. Tell me what you think about all that. Tell me what you think about the direction we're heading with ProMods and all that. Leave a comment. If you have not subscribed, I would ask that you subscribe. Everyone leave a like. All that engagement helps YouTube to deliver this to more people, helps the channel grow, lets me know that you're enjoying what I'm doing. So until next time, this is Ken with Covenant Gaming saying, see you later.